What's up, Daily Doodlers? I hope you're all having a great Halloween. If not, then you're in luck, because today is the last day of Inktober. I'll be honest, I kind of woke up this morning and I was like, I haven't been doing the last couple of days of Inktober. So if you follow my Instagram or my Twitter or both, then I do apologize. I haven't been uploading all of the pictures on there because I haven't done them. But today I am going to fix that. I am going to be taking every single prompt that I missed and combining it into one drawing. So I'm going to need a bit bigger space to work with. So instead of this notebook that I usually use to do my Inktober, I am going to be using this one. Now I just need to figure out which prompts I need to be doing because I honestly have not looked at it. Okay, so here are the ones that I missed. Exhausted, bottle, breakable, drain, prickly, stretch, thunder, gift, double, and today's prompt, slice. I missed a lot more than I thought I did. Honestly though, I think I did better keeping up with it than I expected myself to, so that's a lesson in life. Just have low expectations, and then whenever something turns out badly, then you're like, well, I expected this. But if it turns out better, then you're pleasantly surprised. I don't think that's a good way to live life.
So jumping in here, you'll notice that I jump right into the inking portion of this, and that's because I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do for this piece, but I wanted to practice the pictures, the images that I was going to be drawing, and as I was practicing them, I thought, I wonder what it would look like if I just cut out these images that I'm already doing and I place them over the piece that's going to be the final artwork. And so I kind of wanted to experiment with that. I thought it sounded really cool, and it's something that I've seen some other YouTubers do, some YouTube artists like Casey Golden, and I just thought it'd be something that's kind of cool to experiment with, so I tried it out. So I didn't record the sketching portion of it, but once I decided that, I immediately started recording the inking. And what I decided to sort of go for here was I decided to take each prompt that I had, plus one extra because I had an uneven amount, and I decided to match them up. So I had prickly, bottle, drain, exhausted, and thunder. And the only thing I could think to represent thunder was, you know, lightning with the storm and stuff. So that's a little bit of a cop-out, but honestly, this drawing was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, so I just sort of went with it. I hope you guys don't mind. So yeah, once I took those prompts, I drew what I thought would represent those prompts well, and I tried to do it in sort of a way where each thing represented each other, so like were similar to each other. So like they're all from the same sort of angle, they're all kind of, I try to do more simple drawings for all of them, and then I take the other prompts and I match them with each of the pictures, and I change the picture so that it's still the same picture, but it's changed in a way that so that it represents a different prompt. So like for prickly, I drew a cactus, and then I matched it up with slice, and I sliced it up into 6 different sections, so, and kind of did like this little floating thing with the cactus. and just kind of made it a little strange, a little odd. And I tried to do this with all of them, where they're all very different. They're kind of weird. They're a little bit out there, maybe even a little creepy. So to sort of really get that vibe that they're the same pictures as the normal ones, just with a strange or creepy little twist. And like I said, I had an uneven amount. So for this one that I'm doing now, I did thunder, and I drew a cat with lightning in the background. As you can see, that's sort of what I'm doing now. This is sort of the idea that I had. And then I drew a skeleton of a cat sort of buried in the ground a little bit, just sort of sticking out just a little. And I thought that fit well with the other pictures, where it's kind of one sort of more normal picture and then another one that's a little more creepy, a little kind of out there. And I thought that was a good solution, since I didn't have a prompt, a 10th prompt. I only had 9 prompts. Once I had drawn all of these, it was time to actually cut them out, and so that's what I'm doing right here. And I cannot cut straight lines to save my life. I actually can't really do any straight lines unless I'm using a ruler with it, so that's fun. But I decided to cut them all out, and then once they're all cut out, I sort of go over all of the lines and everything, make the lines a little bit thicker so that the lines around the edges a little bit thicker, so that there's not any white showing, or at least it's not as obvious on the sides. And then I also did some more detail, a little bit of shading and such on each of the images, and it really helped to sort of bring out a little more detail and understanding into the piece, and made them so that even though they're supposed to be more simplified, they're not quite as simplified. There's sort of a little realism and a little depth to them. So the drain that I'm working on is, it's supposed to be kind of one of those drains that you see like in the middle of a street, kind of like a pothole, sort of. And as I was coloring it, I didn't really know if that came across as well as I wanted it to, so I tried to put a little bit of graffiti in the background to make it look like it's like in an alleyway or something. So I don't know if I succeeded, but that was sort of my thought process behind it. Also, I think my favorite of all of the drawings would most definitely have to be the stretch. I think it turned out so cool because, well, the stretch and the exhausted together. The stretch alone, it's a little bit like, what is going on? What is this? I don't understand. But when you put the exhausted with the stretch, you sort of understand, and it just is really cool to me, and I really love the way that it turned out with sort of his long stretched out arms that are just sort of lopsided and flopping all over the place. place and just kind of dragging, and I don't know, I just really like it. I think the simplest of all of these little artworks is the opposite to Thunder, which is the cat skeleton, and I sort of wish I had done something else in the background, maybe some clouds or something, but I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with that, and I didn't really think about it all that much when I was actually doing it, so it is what it is. Moving on to the next part, I wanted to give all of my little pieces of artwork a frame, and so I had to do a lot of measuring and triple checking and making sure that I got it right, and I actually did mess up a couple of times. Even though I checked over and over and over again, I still somehow managed to mess up. So I ended up doing these frames multiple times very much and wasting several pieces of sketchbook paper, but you know, it is what it is, and I did get it in the end, and I got a result that I'm fairly happy with, so that is good. It's just a lot of cutting and a lot of measuring and drawing and cutting and checking and just all of that. When I originally started, I tried to do sort of a fancier frame, sort of like had some cool like curves and swirls and stuff, but then I realized I had no clue what I was doing, and so I just stuck to a boring black frame. Cutting out the frames, I did end up realizing very quickly that there was no way to glue the frames to the actual pictures themselves, and so I sort of did have to extend the frames a little bit, so I did have to fix that, but you know, lesson learned. Moving on to the actual drawing part of this, this is where I just get so excited because it's probably, it's one of those typical tropes that you see in a lot of horror movies, but it's just not something that I usually do. I don't really usually do like creepy sort of themes, so I actually really enjoyed this, doing a creepier thing that I don't normally do. So I drew two twin girls holding gifts in a hallway, and that's where the whole double part comes in, and they have all of these pictures floating around them of perhaps things that maybe they have done or things that they have seen, you know. I don't really have a specific story behind it, but I do have a bit of an idea. So I kind of tried to go for a little bit of a yin and yang sort of theme here, where one of them has much darker theme with highlights of white. See, she has the black hair, and later on I color in her dress to be mostly black. And then we have the other young girl who has white hair, or if this were colored it would probably maybe even be blonde, but you know, it's white. And she has a white dress with little black sleeves, and same with the presents that the the girl with the black dress is holding is a white present, while the other one is holding a black present. And so I sort of tried to go with that whole yin yang theme, and I thought that fit in really well with the way that I did the pictures, because they were sort of, you know, there was sort of two sides to the pictures. There were the 4 pictures that were fairly normal and not really anything special or extraordinary about them, and then there were the other 4 pictures that were kind of their opposites, where they were the same picture but with something weird or strange or creepy going on. I really liked how it turned out, and so I don't really fully know the backstory behind these 2 girls. I think in my head, when I think about it, I think maybe they're, you know, just insane little children who have done some weird, crazy things, who, you know, they have the power to kill things with their mind, to make things go strange, to break things, to slice things in half, to stretch people, you know, just sort of strange powers, weird things. How many times can I say strange in this episode? Wow, okay. Anyways, or maybe this is their imagination. Maybe this is them thinking to themselves things that, looking at reality and then twisting it in their minds to things that it could be, and if that were the case, then they probably still would be crazy. But this is the end of the video. If you have any ideas as to what exactly the story behind those 2 little twin girls could be, then I'd love to hear your ideas. I'm not very good at coming up with backstories, so it'd be really interesting to hear what you guys think. Anyways, that will be all for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please consider leaving a like, and if you happen to be new, please consider subscribing to join my little daily doodlers. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.